This is AP Precalculus. We're doing a review for the AP test. This is the three-peat activities. We are on worksheet G. In number 1, we are asked how we are going to transform from F into G. To get from F to G, I'm noticing that I'm going to identify that point. You could have identified any of these points, but I'm just going to randomly select this one and say, okay, this one went to there, which means I went from 4 to 6 and then went down 1. So essentially, I need to describe this transformation that says go right 2, go down 1. So whenever you're inside the parentheses, you're always doing the opposite. The rationale for that is in one of my other notes, but I'm just going to kind of speed the way through this one and say, okay, everything on the inside is the opposite. So I should be saying something to go right 2, I should have a -2 on the inside. Not a -2, not a -2, not a -2. Okay, just with that one fact alone, you get option B. But just checking again, we should be going down 1, down 1. Everything on the outside of the parentheses is just the normal direction. So B is indeed correct. In number 2, we have a half-life question. Interesting. So we have an equation. I'm noticing that this is given in hours to begin with. So let me underline some key things. We're given hours to begin with, and we need to convert this into days. Okay, so we're converting into days. So the thing that I'm noticing is when I'm doing this equation, if I plug in 1 days, then I really want this to say there were really 24 of those hours for this equation. So I essentially take this equation and then I need to make this bigger because I am having like 24 days in an hour. So if I come down here, I'm looking at the options. Option A didn't do any, they just switched out the H for a D. You're not allowed to do that. But options B, C, and D are a little bit more accurate because they're mixing the 24s and the 15s together. This one doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you should still be, oh, I see. They're kind of just putting the 15. It doesn't really matter how they're doing this. That's just kind of interesting. I guess I'm trying to explain the rationale behind these. When you plug in, if I say that days is equal to 1, that should be the equivalent of saying H is equal to 24 because there are 1 day per 24 hours or 24 hours per 1 day, which means kind of ignore what's going on here. Just plug in 1 into these equations and see if you get out the same equation where we plugged in a 24 up here, because that's what we should be doing. So let's go ahead and say this H we're turning into a 24. So I'm comparing all of these forms to a sub 0 of 0.5 to the power of 24 over 15. As long as we get a 24 over 15 for this exponent, we should be in good shape. So let's plug in D is equal to 1. When I plug in D is equal to 1 here, then I get 15 over 24, which is not what I want. If I plug in D is equal to 1 here, I get 15 and 24 both in the denominator, and I don't know what 15 times 24 is in my head, but I know that that denominator is gigantic, and you definitely don't get 24 over 15. However, for D, which is the correct answer, we're looking, and if I plug in 1 for D, I get 24 on the top and 15 on the bottom, which is what I wanted to begin with. All right, and moving on to number 3. We're seeing 2 full periods are shown. It's kind of hard for me to see where that period, okay, so that's this piece, that piece, and that piece are the same. Okay, I can see that a little bit more. So that's the tip of the mountain, the tip of the mountain, and that happens every 6 away. So let me write that in pen. This distance for the full period is 6 away, and then it does the next thing, and then it would come down like that. This piece, and this piece are all the same. Okay, I can see what's happening with this function, and it's asking, okay, this part that we can't see when we're out here at 30, what's going on? Okay, well, the first thing that I'm noticing is these periods are wrong because I already told you the period was 6, so we can cross off the 12s. Those are incorrect. So B and D are immediately eliminated. I mean, it even tells us 2 full periods are shown, and we go all the way out to 12. That one's just pretty self-explanatory. What is going on? Is it decreasing or is it increasing? I happen to know that the beginning of this interval is kind of a nice number based on our period. A 30 is divisible by 6, which means if I go 5 full periods, 5 times 6 is 30. I get all the way back to the beginning of this period. If I instead I had 31, then I probably would have shifted forward 1 and then multiplied or then added on 30. But we have a really nice number. So literally, if I go from this point, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just 5. I don't know why I drew a 6 one. But if I go 5 full periods, I'm now right here. This new x coordinate is no longer 0. I have shifted this 5 periods into the future. This is now 30 and 31 and 32 and 33 and 34, etc., right? Okay, well, what's going on between 30 and 32? Am I decreasing or am I increasing? Well, you can see that these heights here are going down. Therefore, we are decreasing. The correct answer here is A. All right, that does conclude our three-peat G worksheet. Thanks for watching.